I live alone. At least, that's what I thought. My house sits at the end of a quiet street, surrounded by trees that block most of the sunlight by late afternoon. It's an older place, built sometime in the 70s, with creaky floors and thin walls that seem to carry every little sound. But until recently, it always felt safe, peaceful even. That changed about 2 weeks ago. At first, it was small things that were easy to ignore. A cabinet in the kitchen left slightly open when I knew I had closed it. A chair at the dining table pulled out just a few inches farther than I remembered leaving it. Little stuff. The kind of things you blame on your memory. I live alone, so there was no one else it could have been. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. Then the noises started. It was usually late at night, around 2 or 3 in the morning. I'd be lying in bed scrolling on my phone when I'd hear something from somewhere else in the house. A faint creak, a soft thump. The kind of sound old houses make when the temperature changes. That's what I told myself anyway. But one night, it sounded different. I woke up suddenly to the sound of footsteps. Very slow footsteps. Not loud, just careful enough that you almost wouldn't notice them. They were coming from somewhere above me. My bedroom is on the 2nd floor. Above it is the attic. I held my breath and listened. Step, step, step. Each one slow, deliberate, like someone trying not to be heard. I sat up in bed, staring at the ceiling. The footsteps stopped. The silence afterward felt heavier than the sound itself. I stayed awake for hours that night, but I didn't hear anything else. The next morning, I convinced myself it was nothing. Probably an animal in the attic, a raccoon or squirrel. That explanation made sense, until a few days later. I came home from work around 6 p.m. The sun was already setting, and the inside of the house was dim except for the kitchen light I'd left on that morning. Except it wasn't on anymore. The kitchen was completely dark. I stood in the doorway for a moment, trying to remember. Did I actually leave it on? I was almost certain I did. Still, I brushed it off. Maybe I just forgot. But when I walked into the kitchen, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. One of the cabinets was open. Not just slightly open, wide open. Inside it, the box of cereal I had been eating that week was sitting on the counter, half empty. I stared at it for a long time. I hadn't eaten cereal that morning. In fact, I hadn't eaten breakfast at all. For the first time, the thought crossed my mind. Someone had been in my house. I checked every door, all locked. Every window closed. Nothing looked forced or broken. No signs of anyone entering. That night, I barely slept. Every tiny sound made my heart jump. Around 3 a.m., I heard it again. The footsteps. Above me, in the attic. This time they moved slowly from one side of the house to the other, then stopped. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. My attic entrance is in the hallway just outside my bedroom, a small square hatch in the ceiling with a pull cord hanging down. I stared at it from the hallway floor. The darkness around it felt wrong somehow, like something was watching me from the other side. I stood there for a long time, debating whether I should open it. Eventually, I convinced myself again. It had to be an animal. It was the only logical explanation. I grabbed a chair from the kitchen and dragged it into the hallway. The sound of the chair legs scraping the floor echoed through the house. Too loud. I climbed up slowly and reached for the pull cord. For a moment, I hesitated. Then I pulled. The attic hatch swung open. A ladder folded down slowly in front of me. The smell hit me first. Stale, dusty. But there was something else mixed in with it, something warm, like the faint smell of body odor. I climbed up halfway and shined my phone light into the attic. Old boxes, Christmas decorations, suitcases. Everything looked exactly how I remembered it. Empty. I climbed the rest of the way up and looked around. Nothing. No animals. No movement. Just silence. I felt a little stupid for being scared, until my flashlight landed on something in the corner. A blanket. It was laid out on the floor between two boxes. Next to it were empty food wrappers, water bottles, and a small backpack. My heart started pounding. Someone had been living up there, in my attic, watching me, sleeping above me every night. I backed down the ladder slowly. Every instinct in my body was screaming at me to get out of the house. So I did. I grabbed my keys and left immediately. I sat in my car down the street trying to figure out what to do. Call the police? Maybe. But what if whoever was up there had already left? I didn't want to sound crazy. After sitting there for almost an hour, I convinced myself to go back. The house looked normal from the outside. All the lights were still off, no movement in the windows. I unlocked the door slowly and stepped inside. The air inside the house felt different, heavy, like someone had just been there. I walked down the hallway toward the attic ladder. It was still open, exactly how I left it. But something else was different. The chair I used to climb up there had been moved. It was now sitting against the wall, across the hallway. I know for a fact I didn't move it. My chest tightened. That meant only one thing. Someone was still inside the house, and they knew I had been up there. I slowly reached for my phone to call the police. That's when I heard it. A soft sound behind me, from the kitchen, like a footstep. I turned around slowly. The kitchen was dark, but I could hear breathing, slow, quiet. Someone was standing in the darkness, watching me. Then they moved. A shadow stepped into the hallway light. It was a man, thin, dirty, his eyes wide like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't say a word, he just stared at me. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he smiled and started walking toward me. I ran, out the front door and straight to my car. I didn't even look back. I called the police from the end of the street. They searched the house later that night, the attic, the closets, the basement, but they never found him. The only thing they found was the small area in the attic where he had been staying. Food wrappers, bottles, a blanket, and something else. A small notebook. Inside it were pages filled with writing. Notes about my daily routine. What time I leave for work, what time I go to bed, what rooms I spend the most time in. He had been watching me for weeks, maybe longer. But the part that still keeps me awake at night is the last sentence written in the notebook. It said, "He finally knows I'm here." And sometimes, late at night, I still hear footsteps above me.
What would you do in this situation? Leave your answers in the comments.